Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and yes, I read the comments. You guys have talked a lot about this Toyota Sequoia and the rear cargo room. So, we're here at the State Fair of Texas, the State Fair Auto Show, whatever they can call it places, at my tape measure. And we happen to have a Sequoia here, and we also have some Tahoes and Expeditions. We're going to tape measure these things and kind of give you guys some real input on carrying cargo in this Sequoia. Now, I have a prop of my bag. I can show that. I don't have my golf club, sorry. Not playing golf on this trip, but let's talk about this for a minute here. So let me before I get tape measure, let's understand what's going on here. So this is the new Toyota Sequoia, new generation. We have a couple things going on. We have this divider, which has a lot of conversation about this divider for whatever reason. So guess what, folks? You don't have to use it. It actually sits in this slot here, or you just put it in your garage, because here you go. You have it's got a hard plastic covering here, so it's going to withstand like water, put some dirty boots on there, not a big deal. But what we can do is we have different layers, right? So we can decide to make it different layer here. And what's cool with this is when you do have the seats folded down, this flips over and you have a flat loading floor, flat surface here, I should say flat loading floor. You still have some distance here. So like from this to the bottom, it's going to be 11, right at 11 inches is probably the bottom to kind of judge it, estimate a little bit. And then we can go even higher. Up here, I can go lower. And again, I can do, I can slide this seat forward some more. I'm gonna flip this over. So I can do a semi-flat floor-ish. Now I still have a little bit of room here, okay? So there's some differences here. So what people are talking about though, is when you get this flat loading floor here, we do have a bump here. This bump is gonna be about 2¼ inches high. And so yes, if you have a sheet of plywood or something like that, you're gonna have to sit it up a little bit. And then when you bring the seat back, in this case, from the bottom to top here, we have, say, right at about 11 inches to the top of this. So, it's a little bit interesting setup here where we have lots of choices on our design and how we're going to store stuff in here, but we don't have this flat loading floor like you do in different brands. So we're going to go check those other brands too, because I need to refresh my memory on what new Tahoe is like, and new Expeditions like, as far as how flat this is back here. One last thing I want to look at is, let's talk about from the ground to the top of the bumper here is going to be 26½ inches, say to the top there. So, I'm 5'7", 5'8" with my boots on. And so it's about mid-thigh to me, easy to load as far as that height goes there too. Okay, before we leave the Sequoia, I want to talk about one more thing, and this happens to do with the storage system and the rear lift glass that opens up. Now, other brands, the glass opens up, but in this case, with their storage system, I can put a bag up here, I can put stuff in here and easily grab it and get it out of the vehicle, right? Versus having to open this lift gate the whole time. Now, when I open the lift gate, my bag's full a few times. My bag stays! Look at that, it stayed this time. So you can keep this storage solution up and put easy to reach things like groceries and stuff. Then down below you could have like your road emergency kit or things you don't need to get out as often. Or like in a camping trip, you put your camping gear down here, and like I said, it closes up here and you can get food or whatever and get stuff out. So a little bit more versatility than say the other brands you can see here in a minute, but just something a little bit different and unique about this Sequoia. Like I said, let's go to some more brands, talk about more of those SUVs, and see what our differences really turn out to be. All right, now we're in front of a Ford Expedition. This happens to be the Timberline model, but just as the new Ford Expedition. And I brought my tape measure, so we'll test this out as well. So let's start with the outside, so we can tell from the top, from the ground to the top of the tailgate is 29 inches, so a little bit higher than the Sequoia. And if you go even more in here, this is additional, 7 inches? So we have quite a bit of a step over angle or height to get stuff into the bed. You can see the difference here. So I don't have a little tray like we do in the Sequoia that goes down. I have some storage here, a little bit different there as well. I don't have any setup as far as different heights of a storage system like we did in the Sequoia, but I have a little bit more of a flat loading floor here. So you can see when this secondary seat is down, we have a nice flat surface. And so there's no bump up like you do in the Sequoia. I don't need to measure this because I'm just showing you the difference there. So we can see where those customers that want to have a flat floating floor, this is probably a better option. For those that want more variables and more storage capability as far as different options like that, and also a little bit lower to get stuff into the truck, you're not going to deal with this, you'll deal with Sequoia. All right, here we are at the truck rodeo. Happened to walk up and see this beautiful looking Wagoneer, and we thought, well, let's add this to the series of videos we did on the rear cargo space. So I have my trusty tape measure here. Let's start with the outside first, and we're going to go from the bottom of the ground to the top, and we have, I don't know, about 34 inches to the top of this. You can kind of see my hip height there. So you have a little bit higher of a load-in height than you would on that Sequoia we looked at. When you come around the back, we have the fold-down seats. I'll throw my bag in here as an example of cargo room back there. You fit quite a few roller boards, really, as far as luggage back there without the third row down. We're gonna talk about third row and this all cargo space. About 51 inches across, which is a little more than 4 feet across. And then this third row seat down, I have about 5 feet, so about 60 inches. So it's for sure a sheet of plywood would fit in this if you take the second row seats and fold those down as well. Quite a bit of cargo space here, and it's a pretty flat floor when you look at it going across. We don't have any humps, any places that create problems with that. For people that really want a flat loading floor. And then let's check about some storage area here. We'll open this up here about that, and we have a little bit of storage in here. They have some roof bars, looks like, in there, and then we have a little bit of storage underneath for like emergency care kit, things like that, on this Wagoneer. And I'm told the Grand Wagoneer is pretty similar. It's just when you get in the L, the longer wheelbase, you have a little more room because you have the L. It's more space. Okay, you can see the vehicle raising right now, and it can raise and lower. We have air suspension set to this. So you can get, if you get all the way down, you have a little bit lower load-in height. So that's the benefit of having air suspension on this Wagoneer. You also notice on the back here, this glass is not open, unlike the other vehicles, some of the vehicles we looked at. Just a thing to keep in mind when you're out shopping for a new full-size SUV. All right, now we're at the segment leader, the Chevy Tahoe, and let's talk about this rear seat storage. So this is very similar to the Ford Expedition. So if you look at where my legs are, right? So from the bottom of the truck to the top of the tailgate, or the bumper here, 29 inches. You do above that, and you have at least a couple, 3 or 4 more inches, well, 5 inches if I take my head like that and go across. So I would say this is not as tall. I don't know, just seeing the Expedition back to back. The space here, when you go back here, that seat coming back, you got 50 inches there to the edge here. This is very similar to what the Expedition was. It's a very similar setup. We have the power folding rear seats. We, again, like the Expedition has, we don't have the way to adjust stuff too much, except for there's one spot right here. I don't see a whole lot of storage here. I just popped it up. I was thinking this came up. It didn't come up. So this has got a little bit of storage there. But this, there's a shade that goes on top of here. If Phil can get out of the way a little bit, the shade goes right in there, and then that actually can cover this back end, so you can protect it from spying eyes, people driving by, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but this, again, what I would tell people is I heard all the criticism of the Sequoia, and I said, man, this has got a higher load-in height, which is kind of my issue because, well, I'm short. So, I heard your feedback. I just want to show you guys differences, and I want you to get your feedback as well now that you've seen this video. Are you concerned with the Sequoia's management system? Is that the future? Would you rather have more adjustable cargo management, or do you really want this flat loading floor? I've heard a lot of people talk about dogs and stuff like that, getting stuff in, getting plywood in. It's an interesting question nowadays with different types of design here between the Expedition, Tahoe, and Sequoia, which are all three of the kind of the market leaders in this segment. So again, put your comments down below, let me know. Check out pickuptrucktalk.com, website there, other videos over here. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.